अथ चतुश्लोकी।
Chatushloki, 4 verses, endeavors in devotional path. This scripture was created for Rana Vyas in Vikram Samvat 1580 or 1582. Rana Vyas was a person in priest class in mode of divine ignorance, tamas prakruti. He was intoxicated by his knowledge and money, but he lost in scholarly scripturous competition in Kashi, so he went on the banks of river Ganga for suicide. There he met Sri PRABHUJI and obtained true knowledge. Explaining endeavors of path of devotion, Sri PRABHUJI created this Chatushloki. As per your opinion, religion, dharma and wealth, earth are like means in the path of devotion, while desire, kam and salvation, moksha, are like their rewards. Since dharma, religion, is a path of devotion, the service and devotion of Lord of VRAJ, Shri Krishna, is just an experience of interfuse. In kam and desire, intense desire to get Supreme Lord, Sanyog, one can experience the feeling of separation, Viyog. Such an experience of complete congenial loving, melos, Sringara Ras, happens when done as hymn service devotion. And for devotees, wealth is Lord Krishna himself, who is melos personified, and he belongs to both parties, that is association and separation. The devotees of Path of Grace experience such complete mellow and then reach to perfection. At that stage, everything other than Lord himself leave behind, which is salvation on path of devotion.
Sarvada sarvabhavena bhajaniyo vrajadhipah swasyayameva dharmo hi nanya kvapi kadachana.
Verse 1. The dharma religion for living entities on path of grace, pushti, is endeavor. In any and every time and place, always serving Lord of Shri Krishna wholeheartedly is our religion only. People on the path of grace and no one else. Sarvada means any time, all the time, all the places or all the situation or any caste or any ashram. Always serve Lord of VRAJ, Shri Krishna, wholeheartedly. This feeling of wholehearted Sarvatma Bhava has been explained by various commentators in different ways, because for living entities on path of grace, obtaining that feeling is very highly important. Everything has to be offered to Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna, at the time of surrender, Atma Nivedan, leaving I and mine, that is ego and attachment. Home members of family are also offered to Lord. So starting with the feeling that they are also belong to Shri Krishna, thus gradually reaches to the level of feeling that every living entity is a part and parcel of him. Seeing Lord in everyone is also a soul of everyone, Sarvatma Bhava. Thereafter, Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva, which this emotion also keeping feeling as soul of everyone in Supreme Lord, that Lord is taking care of me like my mother, nourishing like my father, and is protecting me like a well-wisher. Thus is with me in every good and bad situation like a friend. Sri Gokul Nathji says that seeing Supreme Lord in every living entity as Sarva Atma is a feeling in path of regulation, Maryada Marg. Devotees on Pushti Marg keeps emotion of parental feeling, mellow, conjugal love mellow, friendship mellows, etc. in Supreme Lord only. Therefore, gopis ran to as a relative of soul Sri Krishna, leaving all worldly relations behind them. Pati Sutan Vayam Bhatru Bandhava, husband, own children, brothers and friends. This all is Sri Krishna. Whichever woman of VRAJ who had such emotion, they only got entry in VRAJ. Therefore, it is very important for devotees on the path of grace to have some emotion in the mode of service mode, one can establish a relationship of conjugal love, parental love, friend, all simultaneously with Lord of VRAJ, Shri Krishna, because He is supreme, absolute truth, beyond this world and Vedas. It is not mandatory for Him to maintain rules and regulations of Vedas to accept living entity, and relationship with Supreme Lord is not of this body but of soul. Therefore, at the same time can connect with emotion of parental love as well as conjugal love. The emotion of soul of everyone is explained that it is necessary to connect in the service of Supreme Lord by reconciling three aspects: Swarupa Bhavana, understanding the importance, appearance of the form; Leela Bhavana, pastimes, various acts done by the form; and Bhav Bhavana, with what emotion, feeling are we serving the Lord. The feeling of Lord's form means it is necessary to do all the services of Lord with realization of our own identity and glories of personality of Supreme Lord. The service does not remain just routine when connected with the services of it should be performed with all awareness about the relationship of the form as part and whole. Keeping the sentiments of various moods of service shall be rendered with any of the above told emotions of devotees of VRAJ like parental love, conjugal love, all the time in festivals. It is necessary to have the same feelings as devotees of VRAJ engrossed in service with Lord for His pleasures only. For the emotions of pursuits, whatever different kinds of pursuits are performed in VRAJ by Lord eternally with His pastimes associates, friends, kids, Nand Maharaj, Yashoda Mata, and many damsels of VRAJ, Kumarika, executing services of Lord with this feeling not only gives pleasure to Supreme Lord, but also the living entity remain engaged in meditation and memories of all those eternal pastimes of Supreme Lord. Through servant-master relationship, having such eternal relationship with Supreme Lord, such kind of service is religion of us, that is, living entities on the path of grace. In such service, the living entities on the path of grace can achieve all four achievable rewards of human life. After attaining perfection of such complete mood of soul of everyone, Sarvatma Bhav, whatever happens in the life of living entity, that all are pursuits of Supreme Lord, happening due to sweet will and power of Supreme Lord. When living entity sees everything from such a point of view of Lord's pursuits, then it is the perfection of complete sentiments of soul of everyone, Sarvatma Bhava. This type of seva, services is dharma of pushti entities.
एवं सदा स्म कर्तव्यं स्वयमेव करिष्यति प्रभुः सर्वसमर्थो हि ततो निश्चिन्ततां व्रजेत्.
Verse 2. The earth, wealth of living entities of blissful path, pushti marg. It is always our duty, all the time, self-serve to the Lord of VRAJ with the feeling of the part of soul of the Lord. Lord is omnipotent, to do everything of His own, hence always remain relaxed. The wealth fund of living entities of such blissful path is Supreme Lord Himself. Therefore, serving that treasure is our only duty. In that case, if there is any possibility of any kind of incapability or obstruction, then Sri Vallabhacharyaji ordering that we must keep performing our own duty, assuming it as our refugee. Supreme Lord is all-powerful and will do only as required. Understanding Supreme Lord as our treasure, wealth, etc., we must continue performing our duties in the mode of a servant, treating Lord as our own wealth, keeping confidential like money. Understanding Lord as also most precious, maintain our duty as refugee. Therefore, keeping such exclusive surrender faith and entrusting all responsibilities to Supreme Lord, the mellow that living entity is able to enjoy with the Supreme Lord without any worry is far superior compared to pleasures of heaven or salvation. Therefore, For such living entities, Supreme Lord Himself is treasure, wealth in every aspect.
यदि श्री गोकुलाधीशो धृतः सर्वात्मनारुदि ततः किम परं ब्रूहि लौकिकैर्वैदिकैरपि.
Verse 3. The third endeavor of living entity on the path of the grace is calm, desire. Desire of seeing and worshipping the Supreme Lord. Whoever living entity has taken hold of Lord Sri Gokulesh in their heart with the filling of soul of everyone, what better special reward could be there for that living entity? The worldly or Vedic desires are insignificant. The living entity who always remains in service of Lord of VRAJ, Shri Krishna, filling of supreme soul of everyone, the duty of our soul on the path of grace, considering Shri Krishna only as his treasure and service, considering him everything, thereafter assuming Shri Gokuladhish in the heart of that living entity, then resides the impact of Lord Hari in the entire cosmos of that living entity. Thereafter, having put every senses in service and presence of Shri Gokuladhish in heart, all the gracious desires remain in their heart too. While offering such service in front of our Lord, a blissful coincidence union and the taste of separation, while having no opportunity of such service, thus were all internal and external senses fully infatuated now, they are not infected with the worldly desires anymore, but desires related to Supreme Lord only. Hence, such living entity desires various services like glimpses of Lord with eyes, listening about the pastimes of Lord, and through every external sense, then he remains connected pastime Leela by internal sense, that is coincidence, union, plus taste of separation. What better worldly or Vedic reward or living entity can he desire who is taking pleasures of ornamental grace? Since these worldly or Vedic rewards are related to body only, they are limited. However, the reward associated with the desire of Supreme Lord Himself being related to soul is the giver of eternal pleasure in this world as well as in spiritual world.
अतः सर्वात्मना शश्वद् गोकुलेश्वर पादयोः स्मरणं भजनं चापि न त्याज्यमिति मे मतिः.
Fourth verse. The moksha, salvation, is the fourth endeavor on the path of grace. Life absorbed in the Supreme Lord and His remembrance and supplication. Therefore, always keep doing devotional services of soul of every Sri Gokuleshwar, Lord of Gokul, and keep remembrance of His lotus pious feet. Never ever abandon it. This is my Sri Vallabhacharya's inference. Therefore, as explained in above verse, realizing the union and separation while connecting with Master of all senses, and for that execute devotional service and remembrance of the lotus pious feet of Sri Gokuleshwar, who is more beloved than the soul of everyone, soul of all divine personalities, and soul of self. Word bhajan is created from the root word bhaj. Thus bhaj means service. Gokuleshwar, who is form of natvar, nat means union and var is the word representing separation. The Supreme Lord attracts various living entities through the performance of his various pastimes in nut form, and then brought perfection in restraint, and thereafter gives pleasure of union. And var means the best beloved, v means nectar, seed, mellow of union, and r means the fire, seed, mellow of separation. So union and separation. Such a natvar form is a form of Lord who bestows the complete blissful love, Shringar and Ras. In this way, by performing devotional services and remembrance, keep on connecting to the lotus feet of Lord Sri Gokuleshwar through the cycle of union and separation, and never part of this. Such is my conclusion. Sri Vallabhacharya says, such is your firm order. By ordering Nyatajya, you are firmly give opinion that never leave this process. If this process is not continuous, then ego and attachments can penetrate in the living entity again and devoid the living entity from such a nice reward. Such is your conclusion. Continuous remembrance makes the mind unearthly, divine, while continuous devotional service makes body ethereal. This way, knowledge and devotion get stabilized and continuously engaged in Supreme Lord. Mind gets relieved from all other things of the material world. Everything else goes away from the mind except the Supreme Lord. And this is the ultimate salvation of living entities on the path of grace, that is Pushti Marg. Thus ends Chatuh Shloki prepared by Sri Vallabhacharya.